Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to join us this evening to talk about how to raise and manage business finance. I'm so privileged to have each and every single one of you here. And I am looking forward to having a great conversation today. And welcome. Thank you so much. Please, in the chat box, just let us know where you're dialing in from, and let us know what you're hoping to get out of this conference. So just introduce yourself and just let us know, who you are and where you've dialed in from. But I want to say thank you so much. We've got three amazing guests to talk about a very important topic. And I have a whole team behind me, helping me to have to steer the ship. Eko Ibo is a co-host, and Okechukwu Anidibe is also also a team member of ours. So it's going to be a great time. We're here for you guys. So we'll just give a few more minutes so that we can get more people in, and we will kick off. About 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today. So as I was saying, our mission is to help businesses grow, become sustainable, and most importantly, profitable. And we use technology to do this. We serve businesses right across Nigeria, from Lagos to Oyo State, to Kaduna, to Rivers, to Delta. We have businesses who we support and technology and accounting and business support services. Businesses are very important to the country. And it's very important that we are there to give them that support. So part of that support is really to ensure that businesses have the ability to finance their businesses. Entrepreneurs have the ability to push their businesses to the next level. And so to join us to talk about this conversation today, we have three wonderful guests. The first guest I'd like to introduce is Mrs. Chetachi Ezenagu. Mrs. Chetachi Ezenagu is Regional Bank Head, Ikoyi Region of Fidelity Bank. In 2019, she worked very hard and achieved a great feat in repositioning that her region from a loss of 1 billion to a profit of 1 billion naira. I know her personally. She is a consummate professional, and she's very knowledgeable, very personable, a wonderful person. And I couldn't have thought of a better person to speak to us from the financial perspective. She's given us her take. She's given us the finance perspective. She's also spent some time at Heritage Bank. She's undergone management training with Harvard Business School and Lagos Business School. So thank you very much, Chetachi, for joining us this evening, Ma. Next, we have Mr. Mayawa Ani. Mr. Mayawa Ani will be holding the corner for the entrepreneurs from the small and medium scale perspective. Mr. Mayawa is the Managing Director of Principal Facilities Management, and they are based in Abuja. Mayawa studied architecture in the University of Lagos and has an MSc in his selected field from Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. Mayawa has advised several clients and carried out several projects in the real estate industry of Nigeria, and he is brilliant. And you won't hear me say it again, Mayawa, but I think he is absolutely brilliant in terms of business management and in terms of strategy. But thank you very much, Mayawa, for being here with us. Finally, last but not the least, we have Sheon Ebiwojumi. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that too properly. Sheon is a digital brand strategist, but she's critically also the founder of a lovely organization called Startups That Stand Out. And Sheon is doing something that's very dear to my heart, working with SME startups in the area of helping them to scale up, helping them to gain capacity, helping them to even network, increase their markets, and so on. So I want to really appreciate our three speakers for joining us today. I just want to hello, can you hear me, guys? If you can hear me, just type you can hear me, please. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Redwan, thank you so much for connecting from Abeokuta. Biodun, thank you. Oluwole, love to. Henry, thank you. Innocent, appreciate you. Thank you guys so very much. Okay, so I want to, just thank you guys. It's good to have you guys here. So it's going to be interactive. Please have many questions ready and take notes because it's going to be interesting. Okay, so let's get to the business of the day. Team, I need you to help me to spotlight our guest speakers so that we can get the show on the road. Can we get the guest speakers spotlighted, please? Thank you very much. Okay. Echo, can we do this really quickly, please? Do we have Mayowa in? And hi. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, you are fantastic. Thank you very much. Do we have Chetachi here as well, please? Madam Chetachi? I wonder if you can please unmute your, you can show us your video so we know that you're with us, please. As well as Sheon as well, please. Hi, Madam Chetachi. So Echo, I wonder if you can help me with the audio, please. Help me with the, but Maiwa, since I have you, we'll kick the conversation off with you, sir. So Maiwa, thank you very much for joining us. We want to talk about SMEs. We want to talk about how SMEs can raise finance. Now, in your opinion, let's start from where we are, okay? It's 2021, the world is recovering from COVID-19. Businesses are having different experiences based on where you are, location and industry as well. From your unique perspective, how are you finding 2021 and coming out of 2020, please?
Okay, thanks, Sam. Good evening to everyone that has signed in. 2020, I think, was interesting for everybody. Definitely, it was the first of its kind. There's no disaster recovery plan you'd have in place that could tackle it appropriately. No. I think the worst is past, definitely. I happen to be in a unique sector where I dare say we actually benefited from the challenges that happened in 2021 because what we do has to do with asset management, and we focus more on the critical sides, which have to do with residential, retail, and commercial. And we found out very interestingly that there was increased demand for level of services on all our sites because everybody was now stuck at home we're talking extended periods. So people were asking for a higher level of service. They wanted faster internet, for example. They wanted 24/7 backup power. With what happened with the civil unrest later in the year as well, there was also requests for increased security, and across board. So we actually benefited a bit more than your standard typical sector, I would say, through the pandemic. Wow. Things have started stabilizing again this year, of course. Interesting Q1. And so far so good. It's been pretty interesting. Of course, we felt the worst when it started, when the lockdown was announced and all, but as I said, for us, we have to keep managing where people live, right? So we were not prevented from carrying out our services. It was I wouldn't say critical service, but it was relevant service. So we still had access to keep operating for most of our services. We also manage markets, and those were initially affected. We had 3 of our markets shut down for the first 2 months, but thereafter, they started opening them up again. So I would say again, I think we weathered it
Yes.
much better than your typical sector.
Interesting. Interesting. Thank you very much. Because of internet challenges, I'm actually turning off my video so that at least you can hear me. Okay. Thank you
Yeah, that's
very
fine.
much. Sean, I don't know if you have if Sean been with Jumi. Do we have Sean in here already? Echo. Hi, Echo. Okay, please, could you unmute her, please, so that we can get her a take on this topic very quickly. Okay, I mean, well, it seems like we're having some technical challenges with um, do we have her here yet? I can only see a video. Okay. Let me still stick with you, Maiwa. In terms of from a cash flow perspective, one of the things that we talk about a lot is working capital. And just for those who don't know, working capital obviously is just what you need to work. Money you need to work. Over the last as much as you can share over the last 12 months, how has cash flow been for you? For as much as you can share, please.
Well, I mean, it's been pretty fair. I wouldn't say we struggled. First of all, we tend to be pretty risk averse with exposure when it comes to debts and thereabouts, and how much credit we extend to clients. So the cash flow, working capital has always been there. We during the lockdown and during NSAS, of course, we were also impacted as far as when banks were down and a few other things, but we've been able to keep
Yes.
working. We're able to leverage on relationships, for example, with suppliers. We consume, I don't know, 50, 60,000 liters of diesel a month, for example, across sites.
Oh.
We're able to leverage on suppliers for different services simply due to long-term relationships and the good faith they had. And also, it was pretty obvious to the whole system that okay, these are interesting times, so to speak.
Yes.
So bigger picture, the cash flow has been relatively stable. It can always be better, of course, but it's been
Yes.
stable. But as I said, it's simply because of the very risk averse approach we also have to contracts and businesses. We've had
It's interesting
we've
you
had
mentioned that because sorry, it's interesting you mentioned that because one of the things that we're going to talk about is management, right?
yes.
You've clearly organized your business in a defensive manner, to use the football terminology. So you're not leaking into many goals, and
Let's
that's
back up.
something that's very interesting. You've parked the bus, as Jose Mourinho would, or formerly of Tottenham would do, right? And it's a very interesting thing because business management or managing your business is very central to you surviving a storm like COVID-19. You know, how did that management? How did it pad you? How did that management pad you during the stormy waters? Yes.
Well, again, yes, you could call it defensive safety first. That's the important
Yes.
thing. For
Yes.
example, we have had a few interesting commercial opportunities that would have boosted our growth, our strategic growth. However, we've carried out risk assessments and realized, when you're getting opportunities to do pretty high volume work, but you're being told you might not be paid for 12 to 15 months, it can cripple your entire system.
How do you
So it's also about
survive?
picking your fights when it comes to that. So there's some fights we just don't pick, no matter how attractive they're on paper. And what we've done now is across board on every single contract. Every contract takes care of itself, regarding costs and overheads and all that. So we don't do a central pot system anymore, right? For every estate we manage, every market, every office block and all, they run independent accounts, right? So it's up to
Okay.
you, the team running that site, to bring in your money to be able to pay yourselves.
Fantastic.
Right?
Wow.
Previously, I mean, I learned this the hard way because we had a central pot before, and it was a case of okay, bring in the money and pay across board, and then you start having some lazy sites where I mean, some of the people on ground couldn't be bothered to bring in the money since they were getting paid, and then some sites you have funded from start running out of cash. So we learned the hard way not to do it that way. So, everybody's siloed when it comes to cash flow and finances. Every site is responsible for itself. Every site is its own cost center and its own profit center.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Which is how
I
we put
think
the controls in.
Yeah, no, we do something similar in our organization. I have thank you very much, Milo. I have Sheon. Sheon, hi, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Sheon. So everyone, Sheon is the founder of Startups That Stand Out. Sheon, I want to make sure you can hear me and see me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome stuff. So Sheon, can you just introduce your startup community and tell us what you guys do, and critically tell us what 2020 and 2021 how it's been for you for for your business, for your community, and particularly from a cash perspective, finance perspective.
Okay, so Startups That Stand Out is a community of startup founders, basically, and entrepreneurs. We are not limited to that. We are also people that have business ideas but do not know how to express it and do not know how to, start the whole thing are also part of the communities. Are also part of the community. So we are startup communities. We help startups to connect them with opportunities, information, and activities that will help them build a brand that stands out, even as a startup. So we do that through like 5 approach, like our community of like minds, where you come together, share ideas, talk to each other, ask questions, and get answers. And we also do that by our events, monthly events, like just this that we are trying to partner.
Okay.
We try to partner with organizations with similar goals like yours, and
Yes.
we also do consultation because we realize that events can be okay general. We can come talk about general things. What if I need a personal answer? What if I have issues? What if I have a different issues apart from others? So then we use the consultation approach, and we talk to experts, and then the entrepreneurs and the business owner get to meet with the experts one-on-one and talk about the issues. And then we also have resources that we've not really worked on, but we are thinking of creating a platform where startups can easily get access to for information that is strictly about business development and anything that improves startups, basically. And we also do a follow-up process. That means we'd get to know you, we get to know what's up with your brand, how are you doing, what do you need. So by then we get better. By then we know the next organization we are collaborating with to achieve the goal.
Yeah, right. So what has happened in 20? So for your members, how did they find 2020 and 2021 so far? How are they coping? How are they managing?
Okay, so 2020 has actually been, I don't want to use the word crazy, but challenging, right? Because a lot of people actually did well, and a lot of people did not do well. So, but there's one thing that and for those people that did not do well, I think basically it's 60% of them are people that really do not know much about digital marketing, online, anything basically online. So we try to make them, we try to bring them to the tech world, to digital world, so that they can strive. And to the finance part, that's actually why we are doing this event with you, so that they can understand what it means, what it feels like, how you can manage your money, how you can do better in finance. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you. So in terms of finance and cash management, what do your members know, and what kind of information have you given your members, and what kind of questions do they ask in terms of cash flow management?
Okay, so basically, I think there was it beginning of this year when I had a conversation with one of the members. So one of the one of the issue is management. One of the issue is managing cash. Some of them do have, some of them have access to cash, and some really do not have. Okay,
Right.
so one of the issues right now is the major issue is cash management. How do they manage
Yes.
this cash? So one of the part of the information, and although some of them have issues with getting the first capital. So by then we try to get source out for people, organizations that give grants, organizations that give loans, and then we try
Mm-hmm.
to okay solve that. And then the management part and try to organize that's when the event approach comes in and the consultation approach comes in. So we then do events and then consultation sections to help them answer the likely questions they have.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wonder if I can move over swiftly to Chetachi. Chetachi, are you? Good evening. Thank you very much.
Good evening,
Hi.
everyone.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Again, just for guys who don't who are coming in a little bit late. I call her Madam Chetachi, my Oga. She's my Oga at the top. A very accomplished banker. If you see her, you won't even know. Very humble person, but very, very knowledgeable. She is the regional manager for Fidelity Bank in the Ikoyi region, and she's had an illustrious career. I think going to over 20 years now as a banker. Let me just jump straight into it, Ma. Now, finance is clearly something that is very important. You've been a banker for 20 years. You've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you've seen the ugly. What is your take on businesses and finance in Nigeria at the moment? And how can we begin to key into finance, given that there are different types of finance? Just as a way of introducing. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Sam, thank you for having me on board. Now, you talked about businesses. In the banking space, we call them small, medium entrepreneurs. So you have the small businesses, you have the medium businesses. And then the funny thing is that anytime you meet anyone on the road, they say, oh, we want to start a business. But the first thing is that we don't have money. That's the first thing. We don't have money.
Always.
So everyone you see is always, I don't have money and I want to start a business. So it looks like in this part of town, it's money that determines whether you're going into business. And I want to say that is a very wrong myth. We also see people in banking that they have such funds, but they really don't know where to deploy the funds to. So the first thing I always tell small businesses, you need to be able to create value. What value are you trying to offer to your consumers? Something that your consumers will buy easily. They would look for you to buy whatever value you're presenting. What is that need you're trying to fill? Who are your target markets? That's the first thing. Who is your target? Nigeria is blessed. I say we are blessed because we have a huge population, and not just a huge population, we have variety. So it's not what I like that Sam would like. I mean, I like things in black and white. Sam likes gray. So you have that huge population, and then you have a variety of wants. So the first thing is to identify what kind of business am I going into? Who am I going to satisfy by setting up this business? Now we see a trend that we see happening is that, oh, they are selling pure water, they are manufacturing pure water now, and there's money in it. Everyone goes into it. You don't understand your catchment area. You can actually go into production of pure water, but you need to understand your market. Who are you targeting? And then you find out that you will be making much sales than anyone else. So the first thing they say is financing, and I don't believe that. You need to understand your market. You need to also look at competition. What is competition doing? What am I going to do differently that will give me that edge? I would ensure that I get a ready market for my product once I start. Let me give you an instance. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I said to the person, I have a friend, a banker that left banking, and she started doing bread. She started selling bread. She set up a bakery, and she's making beautiful bread. And I said to her, do you know what her selling point is? I said, first of all, a lot of these bakeries don't use good butter. So she's actually importing the butter that she uses to make the bread. And guess what? Anyone that has the bread, once you eat that bread once, you're hooked. But secondly, what else did she do? What else did she do? Marketing strategy. So she comes to homes and say, you know what? I know you consume a lot of bread. Just pay me 5,000. Give me 5,000 or 10,000. I'll open an account for you. Every week, my boss will come around to supply you. If you want 5 loaves, if you want 10 loaves, at the end of the month, we reconcile. If you're in credit, we continue. If you're in debit, then you have to top up, and then I continue to supply bread to you. Guess what? She told me she started that bakery not up to a year, and she supplies close to 7,000 loaves of bread every day.
Wow.
Every
Wow.
day. Why? Because she got her strategy right. Now she has sat down and she's understood the market. She knows she's also thinking, how am I going to get the goods across to these customers easily? They don't have to come to the store. Yes, I'll put some in stores, but I need to save them the stress and add a premium. So instead of going to the store to get my bread at 450, I would supply to you at 500, just 50 naira premium. I'm going to bring the bread to your house so that you don't have to
distribution.
So distribution is sorted out. So in essence, what I'm saying, you need to get your strategy right. Ensure that there's actually a need that you're feeling. There's actually a gap that you're trying to fill. And then once you get there, then you can start thinking of financing. When people say to me that they're looking for money, I said to them, what do you have in your hands? What do you have? How have you started? Because it's not just about money. It's how do you start? Days of little beginning are not forgotten. They're never forgotten. So I say to people, start off small. You like to do this, but start off small. Don't go out to start looking for debts. Because you see some people, they have fantastic ideas. And they say to you, I want to borrow 5 million to do this, to do that. And I say to them, let's take it easy. What do you have in your hand? Let's start off small. I've seen businesses in 20 years of my career. And a lot of businesses that I see that have progressed are businesses that started and started growing systematically, gradually, not the business that you pump in a lot of money and sometimes it works. But for small businesses, majority of the businesses I've seen have grown, gradually. There's no rush to be big all of a sudden.
Reminds me of this. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry.
So I just wanted to say that's my introduction. And there are so many other things we can talk about in terms of financing and as we go about. Yeah, so Sam, over to you.
We are here to talk about a lot of that. But what you were saying is so beautiful because you said that we shouldn't start with, we should start small. And they call it skin in the game.
Yeah.
Nobody will give. In fact, when you want to raise money, it's called other people's money.
That's it.
And why should somebody else put money in if you have not put your own money in? Okay, but that's not the end of it. You start with putting your own money in, and then something else I remember seeing a few years ago. It's called the 5 C's of credit.
That's it. I was going there.
I will let you go there. I will let you go there. But it's so key. Yeah. So the point Madam Chetachi is making is that there are certain things she's looking for before she says, okay, take 5 million naira. Okay. I wonder, Ma, if you can go through your checklist of things that you are looking for, just so that it's easy for people to at least get an understanding of what it takes for a business person to raise finance from a Fidelity Bank, for example.
Okay, so thank you once again, Sam. When you say you need to have your skin in the game, is very important. So skin in the game might actually be money-wise, bringing in some capital, and then we see how far you've gone. Skin in the game could also mean expertise. It could mean a lot of work, underground work done. It could be engaging a lot of professionals in terms of setting up your feasibility study, doing all the groundwork you want to do. Now, I'll just go through the 5 C's of credit. But first of all, if you come to me and say to me, oh, I need money for this, I've engaged loads of SMEs. The first thing I do is just look out for passion. Personally, that's what I do. I look out for your zeal. for the business.
Okay.
I look out if it's something that you really, just engaging the person at once. You know whether this is something the person was forced to do, or this is something that the person is passionate about and says that, oh, I need this to happen because I see I'm going to satisfy this need of so people, So that is what I look out for first. Now, the general 5 C's of credit will say character, which for me is key. I look out for your character.
Yes.
What kind of person are you? Are you a person of integrity? So let me tell you how I look out for character. So you have a small business. I always say this to SMEs. Accountability is key. How do you, in terms of your financing, how do you run? When I see SMEs that run their business accounts through their personal accounts, I'm not too happy about it. Because I say to them that,
me too. Big problem.
How do you account for the volume of business you've generated in the course of the period of review? Why would you mix personal funds with your company funds, and at the end of the day, you don't know whether you're making a loss or you're borrowing from, or you're taking more money from equity, or so. For me, I also look out for that accountability. How do you run your business? You don't have to have 1 million naira to start running an account. So we, for instance, banks, we say, please, we want to see your statement of accounts. If you're not banking with us, we say, okay, you bank with GT. Let's see your accounts with GT. What are we looking out for? Monies are going in, monies are going out. And those monies going out are going to finance the business. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, so it must be going to the business that you want to finance.
Yes.
Not to school fees.
Not to school fees, not for holiday. No, not for buying a new outfit, not for, we have quite a number of names. We look at, is this person paying, are you paying yourself? If you're paying yourself, is it your salary? You can actually pay yourself through your company. Is it your salary? But when we see like multiple payments in a month going to you, then we start to wonder, this won't be your salary. So accountability is key in terms of you being able to account. Character, like I mentioned, integrity. Will this person be able to pay, will this person be able to pay back this loan if he or she has the money? So I always do my background checks to say, okay, some banks say, let me see your credit. Do you have any credit history elsewhere? If you don't have, some banks will say, okay, let's do some due diligence in terms of background check, running a background check on the person. I do that quite a bit. I try to find out who your current banks are, and then I do background check. And then capacity. I look at the business itself. Is this business actually going to meet a need? Are you just setting up a pure water factory because everyone is setting up? No. If you don't give me a contingent reason, if I don't see clearly demonstration that, I am setting up this pure water factory in this location, because this location, the competition is doing this. There's a gap. The competition is not being able to meet up with the volume of demand. So I see a lot of people going to queue. They queue for money to load their trucks of this pure water. So there's a gap. If I set up a factory around there, I'll be able to, take some of the ready markets available. So I look for capacity. Are you going to be able to take this money, and will the business be able to pay itself? And then I look at capital. How much have you invested in this company? So I'm talking about the 5 C's of credit. I've said character, I've said capacity, and I'll say capital, which is also key. How much have you invested? You want a loan of 1 million naira. You're not bringing any skin to the game. You're coming to the bank, please finance me with 1 million naira. Then I say to you, you know what, we need to have some skin in the game. Can you give me 30%? Can you bring 300,000, and then I will finance the 700. That is very critical, because I know you have a skin in the game, and what that means is that you would ensure that business survives. You will push in all that you have because you have invested some capital in it. And then a lot of times we now talk about collateral. So collateral, yes, some banks say yes, you have to bring legal mortgage. Some banks take various things, but now I will now speak to Fidelity Bank. Now, Fidelity Bank, like we say, SME is the engine room of any society. If you want a boost in the economy, whether it be Nigeria or not, you need to focus on the SME team. And thankfully, CBN has also realized that. And other bodies like the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Development Bank of Nigeria, other bodies like that have also recognized the fact that the SME is a very critical engine room. So there are a lot of options
Yes.
available. And we're not asking you to go dig up your grandfather's grave or your grandmother's grave to be able to take a loan or to, to be able to access finance. We understand the peculiarities of SMEs. They are not as structured as some other large organizations. So as a result of that, we, apart from Fidelity Bank, we're passionate. If you check, we have been one of the top SME banks in the past few years. That's because we're passionate for SMEs. We want to see them grow. So we all, apart from the fact that we talk about financing, the first thing is accounts. So we have specialized accounts for small businesses, whereby we know that your cost, you're trying to keep your costs at a very minimal point at this time. We ensure that the account maintenance fees you don't have to pay. So we have accounts with zero account maintenance fees. And some you would say, oh, I'm expected to leave some monies in the accounts. Yes, but we have brought down the limit to 10,000 naira, as low as 10,000 naira. But you leave 10,000 and then you pay no account maintenance fee in the month. Apart from that, we are also one of the few banks that have set up an SME academy. Somewhere in one of our locations on the mainland and on the island. Now, because we realize the importance of SMEs and we understand that a lot of training has to be put into this segment of people, we conduct trainings. All this information I'm giving you can go to our website at www.fidelitybankng.com. You see all of them there, and then there's also a column for you to fill in what your needs are. Please go ahead and fill them in. We'll get in touch with you to understand your business and see how we can support your business. So we offer financial advisory services. We also have quite a couple of partners that we actually do some sorts of linkages to you between the SMEs and our partners. So our partners are technical partners in terms of technology. They help you with technology. They help you with
how come Ikuba is not part of your partners yet?
Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that. Let's talk about that. That's true. Let's talk about that. We can actually do it.
My guy is on the call, so if I didn't ask you,
we can actually do a lot. We'll take that offline. We can actually do a lot. So we also have partners that provide technology services, social media. We all know that the market has moved now to more on the social media. Totally. You have a big marketplace in the Instagram market application. Yeah. So we also have people that will train you on how to ensure that you're able to attract the market people over the social media space. And then we also have partners with bookkeeping, which is very critical, and accounting on how to manage your finances in terms of the kobo, that's how we call it, the kobo that comes in, how you make your expenses, how you can get good deals, how you can engage with a community of like-minded people, whereby you can actually leverage on opportunity costs to be able to get good deals on some of these services that we offer. Then another thing we're passionate about is the Fidelity SME Forum. It tunes on IFM, that's Inspirational FM 92.3, Tuesdays 6:30 a.m. And then we have a repeat broadcast on Thursday by 6:30 p.m. in the evening. And then we also take it to Instagram every Friday, 12 noon. Just go on to our website and you see us there. Now, what do? We bring in entrepreneurs that come to speak to us about their story. Nothing connects as much as an entrepreneur telling you of the struggles they went to be able to grow their business to where their business is today. I have been on that forum about once or twice, and on one of those times I hosted Prince Ebano Supermarket, and I must tell you, it was a beautiful session because he told us how he started his first store somewhere in Bagada, and how that first store was his house. In the night, he will turn the store into his house, close up the store and sleep in the store. And then in the morning, he opens up for business. And you see the dogged nature of what he's gone through. And you see the name Prince Ebano where the base. So Prince Ebano is just a man like you and I. And you can take your business to that level. I can tell you that his model has worked perfectly. He's not leveraged to banks in Nigeria as we speak. Prince Eberno
Oh, wow.
he's not leveraged, he doesn't take financing, he's not leveraged to any bank in Nigeria as we speak. That's because he's come up with a model and he's grown systematically to where he is now, that a lot of people now dump goods on him and say, you know what, just sell. When you sell, we'll take our money. And then he also has integrity and character to make sure that he says to them, drop your goods. Once I sell, I pay you back. I pay your money in 48 hours. And he's maintained that over a period of time. So you see a lot of vendors want to do business with him.
Wow, fantastic. Wow.
Thank you, Sam. So I talked about accounts opening package. We have good accounts that would enable you. Then we come to the loans. We have loans that are specific to sectors. So we have loans specific to pharmaceutical sector, the healthcare sector, the education sector. So we also understand, we have loans for people that are even in the markets, that we understand that their businesses are day to day, they need to sell. So just like what a typical microfinance bank will do, we have a product like that.
Interestingly, we are positioned in the market as well, and I found that in the market the dimension is very, very different. The way an Ebano would work is different from the way a Mama BC would work, or a Chukuma in Alaba would run his business, and it's something that we're learning very, very fast on. Real quick, I just wanted to kind of divert the conversation a little bit into managing of finance, because clearly, whether or not you make money, you have to manage your business, and you will only give money to a person who is a decent manager of money, because it shows. So I'll ask you first about managing finance, and maybe 2 or 3 points about what it takes to manage money. Okay, what should a good money, not a good money manager do, but a good business manager who manages money in his business? 2, 3 points. Then I'll take that question to Mayowa and to Sheung. So you first, Madam Cheta.
So thank you, Sam. Once again, there's no laid down rule. There's no rule in any book that will say this is how you're going to be able to manage your finance. So like I said, businesses have different peculiarities. But one thing that I would say is that, even, permit me, I'm a Christian, so I would share. The Bible says that if you're faithful in little things, you will be faithful in bigger things. So I said something earlier. I say to them, what do you have in your hand? What do you have? So we look at how much capital you have. How are you running on the capital? So how are your expenses for the month? You need to keep your expenses as low as possible to the barest minimum, especially when you're just starting up. You need to, sorry, just a second, my battery beeped, so I'll just turn it on. Yes, I'm back on.
Okay.
I'm back on.
Okay.
So you need to keep your expenses as minimal as possible. Now, focus your expenses to growing the business. Any capital you have should be plowed back into business. Do not eat your profit before the business kicks off. So take, for instance, I'm trying to
practical.
Practical, and then come down to everyone's level. Like you set up a business. I'll go back to pure water. You set up a pure water factory, or not even pure water, you're selling food. And then you're selling food, and at the end of the day, you make 300,000. Now, ploy back the 300,000 into trying to get good deals. You're restocking your raw materials. Your raw materials are now your foodstuff. Now, you know that the more quantity you buy, the less costs it gets to you. So try as much as possible to be able to stock on your raw materials. I would expect that from the 300,000, you would pay salaries, probably 30 to 50,000. Then out of that, at least 50% should be 50% should be for raw materials, and then the balance should be how to ensure that the business is actually growing. Now, a lot of people do not manage their finances. Once they have 100,000 and they make 100,000, the first thing, oh, is to go buy a new phone. Oh, the next thing is to take care of little expenses here and there. No, I say to people, you will get to that point whereby you would spend, if you want to buy a car, you will be, but focus on growing the business. Inject as much capital as possible. Ensure you do not spend on things that will not add value to the business. Just spend money on things that would grow the business. Inject, we call it injecting of more capital. So you sell, you make sales, you inject it back to the business to grow the business. And then before you know it, you're talking about having an additional outlet. You say, oh, if I'm making 300,000 sales in just this location, I can actually pay rent in another location and set up another business, the similar business. And at the end of the day, I'll be making 600,000 in sales in a month. So how to manage your finances, cut out on frivolous expenses. Make sure you look into your day-to-day spendings, the cost elements of the business is very, very important, because some people continue to run the business, they don't look at the cost elements. Before you know it, they sit down and they realize they're not making money from the business. So pay attention to your cost lines, is very, very critical. And then thirdly, try to save. Try to save, no matter how small. Every month, put away a percentage of money from the business. If you're making profits, I have made 300,000, save 30,000, inject the rest back to running the business. And then with time, you will see your capital grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chesachi. Wealth of wisdom, and I know that our time is not enough to cover the items you've talked about. Maiwa, I wonder if you're there, please. I would love to just get your take. So Maiwa, you've been in business now for, I don't know, going to almost 2 decades. Doing different things. How in terms of sorry?
Thereabouts.
Thereabout, exactly. So in terms of managing finance, just give us a brief take. Obviously, I know a little bit about what you've done, but what nuggets or what things can you share with the guys on here about managing finance and the importance of managing finance? Yeah.
Okay. A lot of it aligns with what Cheta has said. I mean, you have to be aware of your resource limitations. When I started off, I think for the first year or more, I was using my own personal old laptop. I was shared a desk with a member of my team.
Wow.
There were sacrifices. You could always go big and go splashy and go loud. And also when you go out and go down in flames, to also be, to also be splashy. So there's that, you have X resources and try and work with the resources. For a business, you need to work with budgets. Your budgets are your lifesavers.
Budgets, very important.
Yes, because before any billing cycle, you have immediate clarity on what is possible and what is impossible. Forget desired. We can almost never tick all the boxes. But if you're budgeting for this month that you have 35 million to spend and you're bringing in a forecast of 48 million in expenses, there's a big problem already.
But if you don't even write it down, how would you know?
Exactly. When you don't write it down as well, because you run into trouble, you either end up accumulating debts, on credit, and when it's time to service it, it's still the same problem. So it's always very important, to have strong financial structure behind you. No matter how small you are, you need somebody, an accounts assistant, an accountant. A lot of companies are starting to outsource their accounting services.
Yes.
Where they're using almost a consultancy model, and the resource comes in maybe once a week, twice a week, handles your finances for you and guides you what you're able to do at any given point. It's I can't overemphasize on that.
It's what you're saying is something that's very, very accurate, because even in our own organization, we also we provide outsourced accounting services. In 2021, it's criminal that you don't have your basic records to say this is what I've done and this is what I want to do. You need to, as you are buying rice or buying fuel or buying or paying salaries or paying for NEPA, whatever it is, you need to actually write down these things.
Exactly.
So record keeping is very important. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, so as you said, record keeping and being able to plan and work within look, your obvious boundaries at any given point. That's critical. Having a reserve, and another thing is you can't just plan for next month. You must be able to have a mid to short term plan. You must have cash flow plans, even if you don't have the balance, for at least 6 months. You must have an assurance of how your cash flow will look for a 6-month period to know you remain in business and you keep operating.
Cash flow management.
You can't just plan for this week and tomorrow and say, oh, things will work out or by God's grace. And that's slightly high risk. No, it is slightly high risk because anything could happen. And it's how we try and work. Cheta also said it too, organic growth and process. We hear a lot of words these days about scaling up, and we hear scale, and anytime I hear scale, all I hear is like 1 to 1,000 in 24 hours sort of scaling. No, it's also very dangerous. Very few sectors can handle that. Very few systems can handle that and still keep process and quality controls. The challenge is never scaling. The challenge is keeping at the scale you end up in. Or else you have a deflection.
Interesting. Wow, that's a big deal. So you're saying getting to the top is not the challenge. It's staying at the top. That's the challenge.
It's staying at the top. In my sector, sourcing contracts, getting bids and all is not easy, but it's very achievable. But client retention, it's all about client retention. You've gone in, you've done your beautiful presentations, your spreadsheets, you've made the promises, you've been given the site. Are your services, are your teams, your structure, your system supporting your promises? Key again is cash flow. They've told you then we don't pay you for every 3 months, and you said no problem. Then 6 weeks into the 3-month period, you're running around asking people for money. You'll be kicked off. So have you really scaled? Or have you flown too close to the sun and your wings have melted? So
interesting. Just to thank you. Just to refresh the room, guys, we're talking about raising finance and managing that finance, and we've had Madam Cheta Chiezanogu, regional manager of the Ikoyi branch. I almost said Ikoyi parish, but Ikoyi branch of Fidelity Bank, and I also have Mr. Mayowa Ani, who is the managing director of Principal Facilities Management, and we have Ms. Sheon Ebiwojumi, who is the founder of Startups That Scale. And we're having a very interesting conversation about capacity, scaling, finance, the things you need to raise money and whatnot. We have gone past the hour mark, and I want to just say, please, if you have questions, put them in the chat box. I think we should go straight to those questions. So as we collect the questions, I want to ask my team, Okechukwu, Abiola Giwa, and Eko Ibo, to please take the questions and take note of the questions so that we can go into that. Now, what about tools? Now, when you talk about managing your money, okay, we talked about we talked about recording, we talked about accounts, we talked about receipts and so on and so forth. How do we do that? And how do we do that? So Maya, I want to ask you just real quick bullet points so that I can run to Sheon and get Sheon's take on how her members are having, how they in the startup community are keeping records. So Maya, you go first, then Sheon, I'll go to you, please.
Well, it's all about technology these days. That's the truth, because real-time information is very important. At any given point, you want to know where you stand financially. You want to know your life balances, not your balance of last Friday. You want to know your live outgoings, your live liabilities, and thereabouts. It's literally impossible to do that without technology. I'm a few steps ahead of being a startup, of course, but for startups, for S and MEs, technology is important, and it's very important that you don't necessarily follow the mainstream solutions, because there's at times an affordability challenge, with following, I mean, not name calling or anything, but some of the solutions that are, popular, robust and all, you look at the figures and you just might not have the capacity to afford it, right? If you have the mindset where you believe they are the only options, then you go back to your physical ledgers. I mean, you've created a beautiful mess, for yourself. There's so many smart functional solutions, mobile solutions these days. Of
Yeah,
course, it's very important to do a bit of due diligence as well. Many promises are
absolutely.
floating around the system, but it's about embracing technology and being able to have real-time access to your state of affairs,
Yes.
and not just financially, as a business, operationally, and everything. It's pretty important.
Mm, mm, mm. I tell people that your business is pretty much a hub or a house where you have you have accounting, you have banking and payments, you have communication, mobile phones, so there's technology for the things to even transportation. There's Uber, so everything
Yeah.
has 2 or 3 steps of technology on top of it. Even you talk about a farmer in Kwara State. There are ways that technology can really help that farmer.
Exactly.
In 2021.
And I need to point
okay,
out.
sorry.
I need to point out just
On.
one thing. When I talk about technology now, mobile is at the very core of anything to do with technology. We're not talking about having to go
Mobile.
somewhere that has a server and a large desktop and all that. It must be 2-3 clicks away at any given point. Any information you need, even with your finances.
On your mobile phone. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Sheon. I wonder if I can come to you right now, Sheon. I know that a reason why I'm coming to you last is because you are representing a big majority of us who are here, the startup community. What do you think about these things that you've heard about today? And most importantly, how do your members manage their finances and the money side of things right now?
Okay, thank you. Actually, personally, I'll start from there. I really am a lot, and these are things because I myself am a startup. Myself, I'm a startup, and the reason why we're actually doing this with startups is because we want to also feel the same way they are feeling. We want to also be on a track that they are passing. So by then we can identify the problem we're having. They will likely have the same problem, and so one of the problems that we are having concerning finance tracking and all is people not even knowing how they spend money. Like Madam she said something about you using your business money, you using the same account as your business account as your personal account. So these are one of the
Yes.
challenges that most startups have. Like they use their personal account for their business accounts. That means they start spending money. They assume now I think I sell this shoe for 50K and then I bought it from the market for 40K and then since I've made 10K is my profit and I have to spend it because I worked for it. So these are one of the challenges. And so basically most startups say 50% or 40% do not know how to do not know how to track their money, do not even know how to manage, they don't even know which money they should spare as a business.
Okay, so
Like
so 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 if I'll just stop you right there, I think the rule for SMEs is you must track your business. Track anything you spend or any money you receive must be tracked. You must write it down. If you don't have a app software, use spreadsheet. If you don't have a spreadsheet, i.e. Excel, use a notebook. Okay, but track down all your expenses, all your income. Write it down. It will save you money. Sorry, Sheon, I just wanted to get that in. It's a very critical point because there's something I'll say later on. Sheon, sorry.
All right, so thank you. So as I was saying, like that's one of the problems. So I feel like another problem that are having is the fact that they really do not know what finance management is. And that's why we try as much as possible as a community to make sure that we organize events and partner with people that can solve those problems. Say for example, a business that is actually doing well. I've heard somebody talk or say I made so amount and I really do not know how I just finished everything. I think that was like last year. That was why we brought the whole idea of this event. Because why would you have why would you make a lot of money and then you don't know how it just went? So I feel like this money management thing is, and I think I really learned from what Madam Chitashi said. And I think if people can really pick that and make sure that they do, like you said, to track their business and track their business income and make sure they separate business from personal issues. Your business money is not for your school fees, your business money is not for your feeding, because you've done well. There's this thing that people say that I've done well, let me treat myself. Like, no one is saying you should not treat yourself well, but there are some things that need to be done, there are some processes that need to be made. And there's also one of the challenges that I feel like many people are having as a startup is lack of marketing strategy. Okay, fine, you made 10,000, say for example, I don't want to go big. Say you made 10,000 and you feel like, okay, I've made 10,000 as my profit. And then I want to do a marketing just to get more sales. And then you spend, say, 2,000 on a wrong marketing strategy. Then I don't think there's anything coming back. So I think and then you'll say, okay, I did advertising. Everybody said I should do marketing. I did marketing. I did advertising, but I still lost money. The money that I was supposed to keep, but I keep the money, I would have been okay. But I used it for accounts and for marketing, and I didn't get any results. So one of the ways that startups lose money at times is not having a strong marketing strategy. I don't know where to spend the money in terms of marketing. So I think that.
So what I hear you say is that we should add marketing to the things that we are paying attention to. In any business we do, we should add marketing. We should say, okay, you know what? If I have 100,000 to spend, I must cut 1%, 2%, 3%. 10K, 50K for marketing. And obviously, we know marketing, there are different types of marketing, but we won't go into marketing. It's just the point is save some money, and it's part of a budget. You should have a budget, okay? In our organization, we have a budget for digital marketing, for example. So that is something to be very, very focused on. Well, thank you very much, Sean. I think we got a good idea of what you're saying. I just want to sort of, just whilst you're there, a lot of the things we've spoken about on this call, and some of the things you've mentioned are things that we actually, provide in Ikoba Technologies. We have an accounting, cloud accounting solution, which is in the cloud. It's safe, your data is safe anywhere you are. If you're in Kaduna, you travel down to Lagos, or if you are in Maiduguri or whatever it is, you can sign on and see your solution. We also have this thing called the outsourced accounting service, and people like and it's offering you accounting solutions at a discount price, rather than pay someone who is rather than pay someone who is we pay 100,000 or 100 and something thousand. You can pay a small amount, 50,000 or something like that, and every month you can get your accounts using this technology as well. So that's just something to sort of put out there. Okay, thank you very much, Sean and Mayowa and Madam Chetachi. Real quick, before we bring the meeting to a close, I want to just take a few questions. And I see that Echo has sent me I love to know how about firms that offer outsourced accounting services. So we just mentioned that Daniel Eke, we've talked about accounting services that we provide. My team, if we have the details, we can provide much more services, much more detail to you. But this is 2021. You need to get, if you can't afford an accountant, get an outsourced accountant. Okay, you should, and you can get one for as low as 30,000 a month, 40,000, 50,000 a month, as the case may be. Well, thank you for that question. I see, is there another question? It seems almost impossible to sell a reasonable meal. Do you have any advice for someone stuck in such a situation? Sorry, is Henry on the call, please? I want to unmute Henry so that you can ask your question properly. And Henry, are you here so we can unmute you? Hi, Henry. Okay. Is Henry available?
Yeah, hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, please shoot with your question. Yeah, real quick.
Okay, all right, good. Mine is just a little problem I've been stuck with. I am in the restaurant industry, and I've been serving food for so many years now. But I got stuck at the time that the competition is so stiff. I sell an average meal for 1,500, and we try to, they say for you to play long, for you to scale, you need to really be in the ambits of the law. So we are faced with so many challenges, like any other business owner in the society here. We are different government regulations. At times you can't really streamline all of them together. Then the problem of VAT and all that. Now, you try to do all these things the normal way, the way it should be, meet up with the government and all that. And you discover that you can't even make a profit. Then you try to equally increase the price, and all your customers are leaving. So it's just something that at the end, you see yourself 1 or 2% at the end of the whole, and you've actually drastically or literally brought down your cost, expense, and all that. So I'm just asking, I know there might be a solution somewhere. I'm equally working on the solution. So if there is any assistance, I will.
Fantastic. I want to ask any of my panelists, thank you very much, Henry. I want to ask any of my panelists if you have a response for Henry real quick. Maybe Madam Chetachi, you are very, very broad in terms of experience, Madam. Let's hear you give Henry some thoughts.
Okay, Henry.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Okay, so if I got you properly, you're trying to see how you can still remain relevant in that business and then still make some money because of all the ups and downs associated in terms of your costs. Your costs are on the increase because you need to be regulated. At the same time, competition is very, very thick. So what I advise people in those situations, I say to them, can you actually look for another source of income? Now, can you do some sort of integration? It could be backward, it could be forward. Now, what do I mean by that? What I'm saying is that, can you identify some other part of the business? Okay, so I give a typical example. I've seen a lot of businesses, so I give a typical example. So I had a restaurant that had the same sort of issue. The location, the cost for the location was quite high. Tax, money, and all those expenses, regulatory expenses were quite high. And I said to them, instead of waiting for people to come to your restaurant to eat food, why don't you take your food to the people? So because this restaurant is located in VI, what they did was to go to various offices to say, you know what, we have this, lunch from 12 to 1. We don't actually need a space in your canteen. We'll actually bring it decently packed at the same price of 1,000 or 1,500 as the case may be. And then we will be around your location between 12 to 1. That's the value you're adding. Also, because there's competition, you also make sure that your food is standard. When I mean standard, in terms of the quality, the quantity has to be right, the quality has to be good. So that was what we did. And then we had this business sign up quite a number of, this restaurant sign up quite a number of, so this restaurant would naturally sell a plate of food for like 3,000, 3,500. Now they had to drop their costs and then start visiting these locations, and they started supplying them with meals, and they dropped their cost to about 1,500 or 2,000. And it covered up because at the end of the day, they started getting the numbers. So what they do is that they go to like 10 offices during lunchtime, and they're able to dispose much more food they would have disposed instead of sitting in their office. So sometimes you need to change the strategy around that business to see if it can work. Sometimes you need to also do some sort of integration, look for another part, another value chain, value chain in terms of provision of food, if you still want to do food, or look for some other value. You can actually make snacks, you can diversify and say, okay, I want to start doing shawarma or suya or something that is different, but still with the same line of the restaurant business. And you'll be surprised that that singular line might actually open up much more doors than you expect. We've seen people diversify to other businesses, integrate to other businesses, and at the end of the day, that business they integrated to became their core business. That started paying all the salaries, that started doing, making them meet all their or tick all their numbers, and at the end of the day make profit. So you might actually just look at that. That's my advice to you, Henry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And also to bring us into the conversation, cash, it's all about cash flow management. So you really need to be looking at your cash. You need to be looking at your how you are managing the money that you have and your expenses. You need to be really very, very granular. So if you buy a bag of rice, how much did you spend? How much did you spend on pepper? How much did you spend? Write it all down and see what the cash is going. That is money management. Well, thank you very much. Okay, I think we've fast spent and we've done justice to this topic. I want to have closing words from our guest speakers today, and thank you very much, for gracing our panel, Madam Chetachi, Mayowa, and Sheon. Just some parting words, Madam Chetachi, and then Mayowa and Sheon, and then we'll say goodbye for now. Over to you guys.
Okay, so I think I'll go first. What I would like to say is that you need to be accountable to every kobo in your business. You need to be accountable. Look at your expense lines. Look at your income lines. Work it out. See how much you can generate. We're talking about managing your finances here. See how much you can generate. Plow the money back into the business. Save up, because you may not know the next step. You might be launching a new location. You might be taking on new terrains. Also make sure you save up, but every kobo counts. There's a general saying that do not eat up your savings. So like my dear panelist Sean said, you don't eat up what you already, because you made so amount of money, you start to eat it up. Plow it back into the business. Be accountable to every single kobo that goes in and out of that company. Enlarge your capacity. Be dogged. As an entrepreneur, there's no giving up. There's no. There's no it cannot happen. Look, there's a market for you. The opportunities are there. Look for that market and tap into the market, and you see your numbers grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know one thing I love about Madam Cheta. We joke and call her Reverend Cheta sometimes. She is so dogged. She is so positive. You need a Chetachi in your corner. Get you a Chetachi. If she won't give you that, she'll give you the money as well. Thank you very much, madam. I'm so blessed that you're here today. So thank you very much. Maiwa, well, last word from you, sir.
Hi. I think for a lot of businesses, SMEs and thereabouts, consistency is very critical. We tend to see a lot of success stories, but don't see the journey. Everybody just sees the end point and, is a big fan of it. For everybody, consistency. If you look at Chetachi, she didn't graduate 2 days ago, for example. No. You have to be consistent with something, and at some point, the system would know you for that. And at a later point, the system will look for you because you become one of the first, one of the first names, So Henry, it is painful, yes, trying to balance costs and be competitive and be profitable, but it's not about giving up at this point. It's like like a Rubik's Cube. You have to keep trying to find ways to still manage cost and don't compromise quality and all that. Painful sacrifices as well. At this stage, it's just a phase you have to go through to build it well.
Exactly.
That's it from me. Let's keep in mind, Amazon, I think for 10 or 15 years did not declare a profit.
Amazon made
now losses. In the past 5 to 8 years, scary figures. It's a process, and there is no shortcuts.
No shortcuts, especially when you talk about money. There's no such thing as fast money, because fast money comes quick and it goes quicker, right? And it's so important.
Fast now, it's in transit.
Exactly. So thank you very much, sir. Amazing insights. Sheon, I wonder if we can have final words from you, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So there's this thing I need to say to startups, that try as much as possible to be patient. Like, I feel like most startups, especially those that just start business because they want to start a business, they believe because I'm a business owner, I'm supposed to earn this profit because I'm putting so much money in it. I'm supposed to be doing big already. I'm supposed to own a car. I'm supposed to own a house. And like he said, it's a process. So I feel like if okay, I want to tell myself that your patience does not mean that you should not make move. Your patience when it comes to results, like you make your move, be patient with it, give it a little time, get your results, then do better. So that then you can calculate your results. You can know that okay, this is what I did last week. I think I got to profit, I got to clients, and let me be patient and then do more. Then so you won't have to choke things up, like you have to put yourself under pressure, and if things don't turn out the way you want, then you probably close down business because you are frustrated at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sean and Madam Chetachi and Mayowa. We've had an amazing time. We've talked about finance, how to raise it, and Chetachi spoke a lot about what you need. Okay, so remember, we're talking about raising finance, what you need to raise finance, okay? She talked about the 5 C's of credit. She talked about capital. She talked about capacity. She talked about collateral. She talked about character, okay? Very important. Integrity is so important. We also talk about record keeping your records, okay? We have a software called BMAC accounting. Go to www.onebmac.com and check out the packages we have there. Our solutions can help you keep your records. And if you don't know how to keep your records, we can help you keep your records. We have an outsourced accounting service, for about, between 50 and 150,000 a month, depending on your size. We can give you support, and we have loads of customers who can attest to what we're doing and how we're helping them. We also help them with tax. A lot of us are having tax problems, or we're running away from tax. That's and to be a person of capacity and character, you can't run away from tax. Okay, we also do that as well. So thank you very much, everyone, and until the next time, you guys stay safe. Make sure you become a person of character, capacity, capital, collateral, and make sure you record your expenses and your income. Take care of yourself, and we will see you soon. My very best wishes. Thank you so much, guys. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat box, and we'll get in touch with you guys. Have yourself a lovely Friday, lovely weekend, and God bless you for now. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Chesachi. Thank you, Mayowa. Thank you, Sheon. Take care, guys. Bye for now. Bye. Thank you.